The public won't have any right to know when the baby's been born, how much it weighs, whether it has a full head of hair. They can control whatever they tell the public and frankly could decide to tell us nothing, because I think they want to present themselves in quite sanitized form in order to make their US project a success. Meghan hasn't got that much interest in her UK audience. Why should she really care, I suppose, about what the British media think of her or indeed the British public? Well, this is once again the Duke and Duchess of Sussex very much taking control of their own narrative, and they're allowed to do that now because of Megxit and the fact that they aren't having to take advice from palace PR people. They've got their own team of advisors and they're very much the ones who are dictating how they present themselves to the public. So the public won't have any right to know when the baby's been born, how much it weighs, whether it has a full head of hair, what it's called, or anything like that, frankly, until the couple decide they want to tell the world. It's not like a royal baby where there are protocols in place to make announcements, the easel outside Buckingham Palace and all of those traditional methods. If we judge it by Archie, we've barely seen anything of him at all, even when the couple presented the baby to the world when they did that press conference at Windsor Castle. Couldn't see much of the baby then. I think with the newborn, similarly, he or she is going to be kept under wraps. There's this sense that on one hand, I think the couple appreciate that there's this public interest in them and their children, but they don't want to give too much. And in a way, they have boxed themselves into the corner of not giving too much away because they've been so fiercely protective of their privacy. They've used this sledgehammer to crack it nut when it comes to adverse publicity, because I think they want to present themselves in quite sanitized form in order to make their US project a success. Although they've left the royal family, they've joined this new dynasty of show business and LA and celebrity that we associate with the likes of, Angelina Jolie and Oprah Winfrey and all these other types that seem to lead these extremely glossy lives where everything is sort of given the Hollywood glamour treatment. Even this image by this Vogue photographer is kind of presenting an image of pregnancy lying in woodland. It's almost too perfect. But increasingly the timing with which they have made announcements has been very much in line with the US audience, not the UK audience. I think there's always been a nod to the US coverage, but that's becoming ever more important, particularly to Meghan. That's what it's all about. It's about signing deals with the likes of Spotify and Netflix to speak to an American audience, not a British one singularly. Meghan hasn't got that much interest in her UK audience. I mean, she's a Californian girl. Why should she really care, I suppose, about what the British media think of her or indeed the British public? So when the couple try and control privacy to such an extent that it seems as if they're giving a kind of shiny, glossy view of their lives, which doesn't really bear any resemblance to reality. And let's be honest, parents these days are very familiar with the reality of how hard working parenthood is, because we're all in lockdown and we've got our children being homeschooled, and we know that it isn't at all glossy. The public, particularly in Britain, will be suspicious of any attempt to sort of glamourise or Hollywoodise ordinary life. They'll balance it well in America, because in America there's an appetite for this kind of Gwyneth Paltrowization of life, where everything is captured in black and white and put on Instagram and life seems amazing. I think over here there is a bit of a sense of eye rolling about some of the Americanization of their lives, and I think they've got to be careful about that with the British audience, because the British audience is quite discerning and kind of sees through some of the superficiality of the Americanized way of doing things. But maybe the couple don't care because they're not in England anymore and they're living out in LA and they're doing it the LA way. That becomes far more problematic for Prince Harry as a blood-born member of the royal family and the House of Windsor. Prince Harry's going to have to keep on coming back and going to have to keep up this dialogue with his royal nearest and dearest. And equally, because he's always been a very popular member of the royal family, there's also this sense that I think he's much more interested in his UK audience than perhaps Meghan ever has been. So even though it seems unlikely that Meghan wants to return to the UK anytime soon, the same can't be said of Prince Harry. And as he's caught in this tug of love really between his royal relatives and his wife, child, and soon to be new baby, Harry, as ever, is stuck in a little bit of a dilemma post-Megxit.